Hello Commanders, I'm Kato and welcome to some tips and tricks on The Outer Worlds 2. If you're looking for some spoiler-free tips and some highlights on some of this game's features, watch on. If you do have your own tips, please leave a comment about it to help out your fellow players. So here are 16-ish tips and tricks I wish I knew when I first started playing The Outer Worlds 2. Ever since playing the first Outer Worlds, it took me quite a while to get accustomed to the multiple factions in this game. If you're struggling with the same thing, I'll give you some quick definitions. The Earth Directorate are your starting faction, painted as the quote-unquote good guys. Anti's Choice is the Corrupt Corporation, Protectorate is Space Paladins, the Order is Math Nerds, and the Glorious Dawn is the Rift Cult. If you need further clues to help it stick, know that each companion you recruit represents each of the factions you'll encounter. Often their dialogue and demeanor can help shed more light on those factions and ideals. A few of these factions also have radio stations, which will paint what they believe in song. The flaws system is responsible for some of the most fun I've had with the Outer Worlds sequel. These are traits that happen based on in-game activities, rather than character creation, and have a positive alongside a trade-off. Flaws can develop after repeated actions like stealing a lot, reloading a barely empty weapon, crouching too much, or even staring at the sun. I really don't recommend that last one. Collect enough flaws and you'll get the option to take the flawed flaw, which forces you to take every flaw you develop, but will also grant you an extra perk every 5 levels. Stacking flaws can definitely force you to think more on your feet. Is it something I'd recommend on first playthrough? Maybe if you're a masochist, like yours truly. Beyond flaws, another improvement I've seen in the Outer Worlds 2 is the vast amount of perks available for each skill specialization. Even if you haven't leveled up yet, you can peruse the unavailable perks and favorite them to have quick access once you do have a perk point to spend. I tend to forget the direction I'm going with my skills sometimes, and seeing what perks I tagged as favorites have helped me keep on track with my current build. Maybe favoriting perks will do the same for you.
Agent Pascal told me to bring you your new model tactical time dilation device. They say these newfangled ones cause no. That ain't right. 10.25% less brain damage than the old ones.
TTD, or Tactical Time Dilation, makes a return in the sequel as a gadget instead of an innate ability. And I'll be honest, I've barely used it thanks to the myriad of other gadgets you get throughout the game. Slow motion is and always will be awesome, but so is an energy shield. I've also used ranged weapons sparingly in my first playthrough, so that could have something to do with it too. This tip is mainly to encourage experimentation, and I'll share an example. Since I am a melee enjoyer in most games, it did take me a bit to get a flow down that didn't leave me wide open for attack. In fact, I just gave up on blocking since currently two-hander swings can't be interrupted with the block button. One workaround I did find, however, is Anti's Acidic Dematerializer, one of the gadgets that you get early. This doesn't only add to your melee combo, but also interrupts it, and basically fixes the long pause when swinging two-handed weapons. If you're not otherwise using your energy, why not add to your melee combo with a gadget? In Paradise Island on Eden, you'll see a ton of Crabble egg clusters, and destroying them sometimes results in Crabble meat or Crabble-based components for crafting. If you've got the means, it might be worth sticking around for a minute or two and popping all the eggs you see for some extra wealth. I figure it worth mentioning here too, if you like just gathering stuff, dung piles are incredibly prominent anywhere there's hostile wildlife, and checking them will tend to result in more creature parts and undigested remnants of the humans unfortunate enough to get eaten. If you really want to incentivize futzing with fecal matter, Treasure Hunter, the first perk under observation, will grant you extra bits and components from just about everything, including these dung piles.
Don't have the aptitude for flight, apparently. But this role suits me fine. I like the upward mobility, in the metaphorical business sense, I mean. What? She'll start bleeding fuel during ascent, if not worse. I'd best go and take a quick gander, just in case. Thanks for the tip.
Nearly every problem this game presents you with has multiple solutions. This could be skill related in the case of dialogue, or maybe you just need to find more information or a hidden vent somewhere. If none of those options are appealing, there is always violence. Point is, there's usually multiple approaches to everything. Exploration can be rewarded when it comes to climbing up high on things. This is especially true in populated towns and settlements. A little vertical exploration like this can net you some hidden stashes or even passageways to bypass a front door. One of the gadgets is crucial for this, and you can get it on Paradise Island, not far from the landing pad at a spot called Sovereign's Sweet Spire Grove. And I'll let you find out the rest. Each in-game map allows for up to 5 waypoints to be placed by the player. Since the yellow quest trackers are sufficient at tracking objectives, I suggest using these custom map markers on things like locked containers, jammed doors, and other skill check obstacles that you could come back to later when your skills have improved. These markers are saved per map too, so they will still be present upon your return. Consumables are simplified in the Outer Worlds too, where they're now dedicated to a single button which uses food and drink outside of combat and your inhaler inside of combat. Instead of the drugs you pick up contributing to different effects, they now all just contribute to your inhaler charges. If you are utilizing the inhaler a lot, remember that you can just buy more drugs from doctors and vending machines to refill your charges, or even craft them yourself at the crafting bench with nicotine and biomass. A small investment in the medical skill will help you a ton with your inhaler efficiency, and even let you comfortably equip more than one primer. Junk items have a dual use in the Outer Worlds too, and can be sold at merchants with the Sell All Junk button, or broken down into components. Both are of course dependent on what you want more. Do you need bits or materials? If you're not averse to crafting, breaking down weapons and armor will give you components to modify gear, create explosives, replenish inhaler charges, and even make your own primers if you have the plans. There's not much limitation on what you can't add to junk and break down, so if you want to keep it easy, just break down everything you don't need and sell bulk components if you're short on bits. When tossing grenades, your character's throwing power is incredible. In the early hours, I was constantly surprised that you can often just point at what you're throwing at instead of trying to account for an arc. Fortunately, if you hold your grenade button, you will see said arc if you're needing more range. On the topic of grenades, there's tons of variety for us to explode Arcadia with. One throwable I didn't give enough credit at the start were the smoke grenades. I like taking everything not nailed down, and yes, I did get the kleptomania flaw. But when you are in a more busy space, sometimes there's too many pesky NPCs watching your attempts at theft. Well, if you just throw a cheeky smoke grenade at your feet, you have a window of several seconds to grab whatever you want off nearby counters and shelves, even in front of a merchant's face. There are a few categories of collectibles in the game, and many are small enough to miss. Pitchball cards are the more prominent collectible. They give a small, cumulative, permanent bonus to your character, like maximum health, gadget energy, critical chance, and maybe some other bonuses. Like many of Obsidian's RPGs, there are plenty of unique weapons and equipment to find in the Outer Worlds too. These can be received via rewards, inside of lockboxes, or found tucked away in various hiding places. If the name of an item doesn't immediately give it away, just know that anything particularly rare or unique has an orange cog on its item icon. There are some truly wacky items out there in the form of science equipment too, and their icons are marked in blue. Be sure to check your inventory after quest completions as well. I missed the pop-ups numerous times telling me that I was rewarded with a unique item. High security lockboxes are another item that shows up in your collectibles inventory. but are also displayed in your ship. These often store something unique or specialized that your character can use, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should spend your advanced decryption keys on every lockbox as soon as you receive it. Some of these boxes require multiple decryption keys to open. Fortunately, while looking at them on your ship, you can preview the contents of these lockboxes before opening and decide from there whether it's worth using the keys that you have. For example, after some deliberation, I decided to open a lockbox with the Tactical Trajectile Defense Dome inside, which is a helmet that blocks projectiles at the cost of gadget energy. Decryption keys, which are used to open these lockboxes, are not only found while exploring, but often can be in the inventories of various vendors. So be sure to buy up those decryption keys if you've got the bits to spare. If you are sneaking around and taking out enemies stealthily, their health bar will give you a preview of how much damage you'll deal with a sneak attack. If this is a one-hit kill, the health bar will show a skull in the middle and let you do a melee sneak attack with a button prompt once you're close enough. Unless it changes in the future, this sneak attack damage preview does not account for bonus damage. So if you have an elemental effect or otherwise extra damage outside of the first impact, it might still be worth just trying a power attack to see if it connects and disposing of the body quickly if need be. Zeranium is a highly toxic substance you'll be introduced to in the first zone and progressively more throughout the game as hazards or clouds that automechanicals leave behind. Receiving zeranium poisoning in high doses will, of course, result in death, while small doses will reduce the cap of your toxicity bar. If you like to play more risky, there are some equipment items that cause or get bonuses from zeranium poisoning. If you'd rather not min-max this way, avoid these painful looking clouds when possible, and if you do have some zeranium poison built up, make your way to a doctor or auto dock to get it rectified. As a little side note, the auto dock in your ship appears to have infinite uses with no cooldown. If you have your own tips and tricks while you've been playing The Outer Worlds 2, please leave them in the comments. If Obsidian games are your thing right now, I did make some tips and tricks and guides on Avowed as well, and you can check those out linked here and in the description. If you found this video useful, entertaining, or both, please do whatever it is you see fit to show that. Among the ways you can is by supporting on Patreon, like the courageous commanders on screen now, including Wasteland Legends Sven. Thanks so very much for watching, and best of luck saving Arcadia.